Welcome to the webinar. This is a broadcast for HealthNet customers, and it's specifically geared towards helping you choose music as an alternative or as an adjunct to traditional anxiety treatment. The question that comes up most often is, what's the best music to calm anxiety? And the answer to that is that the best music to calm it is music that's been specifically composed to relax the mind and body. And to further illustrate that, if you think about any kind of music that is like a lullaby, you'll note that when you listen to that kind of music, you'll immediately go into a state of mind that's much more calm. If you then were to listen to heavy metal music, you would perk up. You would be in a much more agitated mental state, an outwardly focused state. So the same principle that is behind music causing those two distinct mental states and moods can be further refined so that the mind and body react specifically to the music by relaxing. And it's done by using specific tempos, harmonic, melodic, and rhythmic patterns. That is one of the fundamental approaches to the compositions, is that the tempos adhere to specific tempos that have been proven in laboratory experiments to elicit a state of relaxation in the listener. And then harmonic, melodic, and rhythmic patterns can all be used to further create that sense of a relaxed state of mind and body. Rhythm being a unifying factor and bridging factor between mind and body. So all of these elements can be used very specifically to create a specific outcome in terms of emotional state, mood, and ultimately brainwave activity. Because we can also use audio frequencies that actually emulate or mirror what relaxed brainwave frequencies are. And those audio frequencies give the brain waves a baseline to copy. So you can see we can get very specific with using music and audio to create a very specific type of relaxation in the body. And this means you can immediately experience a reduction in the symptoms of your anxiety just by listening to music, specific kinds of music, preferably. You may even be able to prevent panic attacks or stop them while they're going on. Let me introduce myself. My name is Greg Palumbo. I attended the Juilliard School, which is famous for being a music school of the highest caliber. I studied classical piano there and composition, voice. And when I graduated, I decided to study the effect, specific effect, that existed between music and emotional states. And I discovered ways of quickly changing a person's mood, emotional state, and even brainwave activity utilizing music and audio. Dr. Lawless, Dr. Frank Lawless, who is the chairman of the Dr. Phil Show Advisory Board, who is the chief content advisor for the show, learned about my work in the context of him creating programs to support the show. And he wanted to utilize my techniques of creating a relaxed state of mind, specifically a state of mind that is relaxed and more prone, let's use that word, to being able to recall information. And so that was the beginning of a partnership we formed that ended up becoming a health and wellness company called Mind Body Series. The idea being that I would combine my musical and audio approach to overcoming stress and anxiety and being able to place people in states of mind that are receptive to learning new information and absorbing it and retaining it. Combining that with Dr. Lawless's extremely powerful brain entrainment techniques, which is based on the science of neuroplasticity, which Dr. Lawless is one of the forefathers, the founding fathers of that field. Now, Dr. Phil endorses our programs. If you know anything about Dr. Phil and endorsements, you know that he doesn't do endorsements, yet he endorses our programs. He utilizes them with the guests of his show. He features them on his show. He recommends them to his TV audience. So he thinks very highly of these programs because we have really taken a very methodical and multiple pronged approach to beating anxiety. As you can probably tell, I have quite a bit to tell you about what you can do to beat your anxiety once and for all. I'm serious about that because the consistent practice of the techniques and the utilization of some of these tools, if you are consistent, and that really becomes, the guarantee is in your lap. You know, no one on my end can guarantee you results. You, however, can guarantee yourself specific effort, consistent effort, and then giving that effort, that consistency, a chance to take real firm hold in your life. And really the techniques that we talk about in all of our Mind Body series programs are rooted in the consistent use of the techniques. You have the best chance of succeeding the longer you utilize the programs. You will experience some immediate benefit from the majority of our programs. They are designed to create an immediate positive response. However, they're also designed to work long term by utilizing them consistently on a daily basis, utilizing the techniques on a daily basis that you learn in the programs. That's the key element. And then if you think about the general rule for what it takes to become an expert at anything, that applies to this. How long does it take your brain essentially to wire this new behavior? It's the same as though you were heading out to become a concert pianist, as I am. You would expect that it would require quite a bit of consistent daily practice to become a virtuoso at the piano. And that, I assure you, was the case. It took a long time, consistent practice, for me to truly become virtuosic. And that's what you need to aim for in your mind management, to become a virtuoso in playing your mind. And that will come the more you practice. That means doing it once will give you a sense. Doing it twice, doing it 3 times, doing it 4 times starts to embed the new behavior. You'll see improvements in your ability to utilize these skills in real world circumstances the more often you practice them. So it's a continual practice. It's a work in progress. Ultimately, you will get to a point where anxiety is a very manageable phenomenon. And for most everyone who follows these programs and follows these techniques consistently every day, you get to a point where anxiety does not disappear magically from the face of the earth. Anxiety is a reaction to the imperfections, or at least how we view them, the discomfort that is a natural function of being human. That never changes. That would be a different experience. The human experience does have hills and valleys, and it has moments of duress, moments of bliss. The duress will always be there. You want to avoid a prolonged anxiety response, and that's what has brought you here today, is that you have prolonged responses to anxiety. It is uncomfortable because you can't bring yourself down. You stay in that elevated, heightened state of anxiety for the majority of your waking hours, and you're clenched and tight while you sleep. It never truly dissipates. That is problematic to your health, as you know. And so it's a state that you need to consistently work at to change. These techniques will change that. It will change the response to the stresses. Now each stress just works to agitate an already heightened state of anxiety. Once you become a master at guiding your mental state, you'll be able to meet stress with certainly a sense of anxiety initially, but an almost immediate ability to calm the anxiety, to bring the focus to the moment, and to be able to deal very calmly with whatever situation just caused the stress. That's a very different kind of experience than you're currently living. And it changes how you react in the world, the results you get from the efforts you make in the world. When you minimize the energy that is wasted in an anxious state of mind, it pervades almost all of your activities. It infiltrates everything you do, impeding your ability to succeed in every aspect of your life. Anxiety is a killer. It is. It's been proven to cause heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. It is now proven in science, by science, that anxiety does cause fatal conditions in human beings. However, the pain, the emotional pain, the pain of unfulfilled promise of life, the unfulfilled desires you have that would be completely within your capabilities of achieving, were it not for the anxiety. And that perhaps is the uh, scariest part about anxiety, is that the diminishment in your quality of life is almost something you cannot see. You're wearing the rose-colored glasses, but those rose-colored glasses are glasses made of anxiety. So your assumption is you have risen to the greatest capabilities you have for success. Wherever you currently are is all you're capable of. That perception exists because the fog of anxiety has caused you to completely forget what you're actually capable of. Remember that anxiety reduces your ability to retain information. Your memory is impeded. Your desire and passion for life is dulled. Anxiety has a tremendously strong relationship to depression, so likely you are also experiencing depression, something you may or may not be conscious of or even willing to admit, but that is a component of anxiety. Prolonged anxiety is directly linked to depression. So, a lot to tell you and a lot to help you with. You know, it's frustrating in a very profound manner that many of these techniques are so hidden in from view in a world where access to knowledge we believe is so easy to achieve. And yet these techniques, they're unconventional and they're not things that make headline news. They don't necessarily come up number one on Google searches because, well, those searches are all in the mental health field taken up by drug companies and Wikipedia. So solutions such as the ones that I come across with Dr. Lawless in our work are, first and foremost, my main criteria is it has to be easy to implement regularly and consistently on a daily basis. If this is something that's going to take hours of your day, it's not something that anyone is going to ever be consistent with. So these techniques first have to pass the sniff test of being quick and simple, things that can be done on the fly without a great deal of effort involved, and certainly not a great deal of time. So that's requirement number one for anything that I ever pass along to you. And the second requirement is that it has to have proof positive in the real world. It has to be something that I can trace to people who actually have been helped by it. And believe me, I run into quite a bit of that. Techniques that never even get to make the show, just because there's only so many minutes in an episode, and there's only so many episodes in a season. It's just heartbreaking sometimes to know that the solutions that people truly are craving are sometimes beyond their reach, even in such a connected world, just because of all the noise. So that's what my commitment to you is. I'm going to email you our most first of all, I'm going to email you, since you came about music, our most popular anxiety music program. Okay, now this is a program that's regularly sold for $29.95. I'm going to give it to you free of charge as an MP3 download. Okay, fair enough. So free. It's usually $29.95 as an MP3 download. I'm giving it to you free of charge. And I'm also going to be sharing with you these little known but highly effective anxiety relief techniques that I've learned from the work that Dr. Lawless and I have done for the Dr. Phil show. These are going to be your techniques, things that you can take and use. And listen, you hear me, what you don't hear me saying is I guarantee this, that, and the other. I don't guarantee that any of this is going to work unless you consistently apply yourself. And then there are different techniques that will work better or worse for you. So that's why it behooves you and I to have an ongoing relationship where I can share the new stuff that I run into and see if that works a little better for you. You know, it's always an ongoing journey, even once I conquered my anxiety, the prolonged anxiety, the anxiety that would leave me waking in the morning with clenched fists and locked jaw. That was the degree that I was suffering with this prolonged heightened level of anxiety. So once I conquered that state, it wasn't as though I was done. You know, again, life serves up little surprises on a very regular basis. It's part of what gives color to our lives, and it's so wonderful in some ways and so painful in other ways. And yet, it's just the truism and fact of life. So these techniques are wonderful to keep learning because there's always a new situation, something new to try something new with. You know, it's never anyone's preference to play the same song over and over and over, week in, week out, year in, year out, decade in, decade out. We listen to a new song after we tire of the old song. These techniques are the same kind of thing. Just like the gym, you're not going to do just one exercise over and over and over again. You would just end up with huge biceps. It's good, if that's your exercise, it's good to rotate your exercises. So the same goes for your mental exercise of conquering anxiety. It's going to be an ongoing thing, and we'll always have new ideas, new techniques to try out. Remember, it's a constantly evolving world. And part of that means we discover new things on a daily basis. So what's old is new, what's new is old, and then there's always the thing that surprises us all and is the new kid on the block. So again, my mission is to use what I do in my classical music and my composition a little differently in this framework here. I'm in this relationship with you. I want to help you use what I know about music to help you achieve what you want in life. That might sound a little cheesy, but really that's what it's all about. You know, music is a universal language, and for those that are spiritually minded or religiously minded, universal must be the language God speaks. There is no other language that anyone, anywhere in the world, no matter their contact with anyone else in the world, understands. Music is understood by all people. And that is a unifying factor. That is something that has profound implications to who we are as humans and beyond, our spiritual sides. And utilizing that to explore ourselves and to improve our lives is a natural consequence and a natural thought to have. Music has such profound implications in our lives, an effect in our lives. It certainly can be used to motivate us to achieve greater things, to achieve more pleasure, to achieve more satisfaction, to help our cause in life and our mission in life succeed. So, get started. Get started. The way to get started is click the link right below this video. Again, I'm going to send you out our most popular anxiety relief music program. This is the one that has sold the most. And it's a program that is general in nature, so you can pretty much use it for any anxiety relief situation. Remember, we have specific programs as well that really delve into specific types of situations. It does get that specific. It may sound a little startling that you can use music to get to such a precise state of being and mind, but it should also seem a natural thing. So get started, click the link below. I'll email you out the free MP3, and I will keep you posted on anything new that Dr. Lawless and I learn. There's another team, by the way, not to go into too much detail, but a team of therapists that Dr. Lawless and I have access to that we share ideas with. And so our mastermind of highly educated and experienced individuals in the field of mental health is right at our disposal, and that means it's at your disposal as well. So what we learn, we pass on to you, and you apply to your life, see how it works. Some things work better than others for different people, but it's going to be that buffet that you get so that you can then go back to the things that work best for you and keep learning. It's all about the journey. Click that link below and we'll get that out to you right away.